All right, everybody. It's the Friday edition, September 15th, 2017, the Friday edition of the TED Show. I am going to continue to make sure this comes up on Facebook, so bear with us for a second. I'm with my very close dear friend, Beth Hobart. She was kind enough to agree to come on, so hopefully this doesn't ruin your points out there in the world, because it's a wonderful show, and you guys have been so supportive. I had Jim on, and I really appreciate that. So we have a like there, so I know it's coming up. So
Yay.
Beth and I can't exactly remember if we met through, well, I knew about you before. I think I knew you were married to Jim. Mm-hmm. Maybe. But I can't remember exactly where we met. Was it at a WCR function?
It may have been. Honestly, Jim is, I feel like he's always the connector.
He is a big connector.
So I think, I'm not sure. It could have been WCR.
It might have been WCR. It could have been an Aura thing. And then I kept thinking, you've got this last name that can't be that popular here in Orlando. And you've got to be married to Jim Hobart. Somebody's got to be married to Jim Hobart.
Right.
You know what I mean, Jim. Sorry. Jim's here, and he actually set it up. All right, thank you, guys. Hi. Hey, Nicole. Nicole's on.
Oh, yay.
But I don't know the story of how you and Jim met, I don't think.
Oh, that's funny. So
tell me that story, because I obviously knew him from college, and we remained friends the whole time. Social media has been great, but we still maintained our friendship. Yep. But how did you two meet?
So
how did a Jersey girl?
So I'm a UCF grad. I graduated with an ad PR degree, and I basically in advertising. That's how I met Jim. So we met in 1999, and I was a graphic designer.
You were 5.
Yeah, I was 5. And so, that we were in the same industry, and I knew him for years. I was dating somebody for 5 years.
I didn't know this story at all.
Yeah. So I was in a relationship for 5 years, and towards the end, it got not so good and a little bit abusive, and so I had to get out of that situation.
I'm sorry, I did not know that either.
Yeah, it was pretty awful. And Jim was always my friend, always wonderful. Everybody at Night Images, who I'm still friends with now.
My kid and that whole group.
Everybody. And then I don't know. It was one of those things where we always knew each other. We knew a lot of the same people, and you just one day you're like, hey, you're actually really awesome. I'm not dating anybody. You're not dating anybody. And here we are. It happened.
That's sort of how Stacey and I were friends first, which I think, from a relationship standpoint, has been incredibly beneficial, because then you know each other's dirt. You've already, you know everything about each other that you may or may not have shared with your significant other up to that point. And so there is no real baggage that comes along. Everything's transparent.
No, there's no games, there's no nothing. It's just, here I am, you know everything about me, let's just get together.
Rick Bosley says, love the Macbeth mugs display.
Oh, did you like that? The Beth
Look at that.
Mug?
Yes, and Joe Toma, this is not coffee. I'll just leave it at that. He said, where's the wine?
In my mug.
And yours is coffee.
Actually.
Yeah, she's the good one. Allegedly, I'm having vodka or something. So what's interesting to me is, what I love about you is that you not only have a successful business, you also drink a ton of coffee, which we'll talk about in a minute.
Right.
But you do so much in the community. So I want to talk a little bit about that. You're a Jersey girl. I'm a Jersey boy. Yep. I was born in Ridgewood, New Jersey, Bergen County. County.
I was born in New York, but raised in Jersey. So
what part of Jersey? I forgot.
Manalapan, Monmouth County.
Yes, Monmouth County. And so I've seen the pictures of you with your big Jersey Bon Jovi hair.
Yeah.
They're awesome.
Yeah.
They really are awesome. But so from your family, is that where you learned how to get super involved in the community? Because I want to talk about your community involvement too.
Actually, yes, that's a very good point. My mom owned a flower shop growing up. Both of my parents were entrepreneurs. And so at a very young age, I was always helping my mom in the flower shop. And we would go to nursing homes and bring flowers to people. We would bake and bring things to people. So it was a lot of nursing homes that are nearby that I guess my mom, that's where her heart was. So at a very young age, I always saw her doing a lot of volunteer work and giving back to the community. And I think that's really where it all started. So when I moved to Orlando, Jim was actually the reason why I ended up doing a lot of work with Quest, because he knew one of the directors And so actually that's really funny. So it was Jim that connected me to Quest because I said, I'm looking for a volunteer opportunity, and that was back in 2001.
Yes, you've been involved with Quest for a very long time.
Yeah.
And you can talk, and I want you to talk about some of the community organizations and efforts and causes that you're involved in.
Sure. So Quest Incorporated, they work with developmentally disabled people, from children to adults, all varying kinds of disabilities. And first, I just felt drawn to that mission. So I was on the board for a while, did a lot of volunteering at some of the independent living homes where there's individuals that are taught a skill set to hold down jobs, lead independent lives. And so there's kind of like a house mom, I guess you could call it, that stays at the house with them just to make sure that everything is that they're going to work and doing things. But it's great because I think, and I can only imagine, I don't have children and I don't have a disabled child, but probably a fear that a parent would have would be, what happens when I pass on? Would my child be able to take care of themselves?
Absolutely.
And so Quest is really a good resource for parents with children in that situation. So,
and you do an adopt a home every Christmas or holiday?
Yeah, every December, my friends and I get together and we get about 50 volunteers, and now it's like a thing. We've been doing this for about 12, 15 years.
People know it.
Yeah, people know about it. So we get their wish lists. I get all the presents donated. Food donated from Sonny's Barbecue.
That's awesome.
And we get all the decorations and we decorate the houses, and it's basically a big apartment complex with 13 apartments, and then they bus in any other independent living homes that aren't adopted. So now we're up to almost 30 people that we're helping.
Wow.
But because people know that I do this each year, it just keeps getting bigger and bigger.
They do, and you do a fantastic job of getting the word out about it. You do all sorts of stuff on social media.
It's so great.
It's fulfilling. That's your favorite day.
Yeah.
And then
so happy.
you work with Quest, but you also do a lot of other things in the community. One of the things I posted this morning was you're very selfless, and I'm going to say that, but you're not, but you're super involved. And Carolyn, fun fact, if you go to Maxine's on Shine for Brunch, you can have coffee in a Beth Sells Florida mug. That's from your husband, Jim.
It's true.
But
it's the same mug.
It's not just Quest. So you've got a successful business, which we want to talk about in a bit.
Right.
But you're also involved with Rebuild Globally and the Orlando City Foundation.
Yes.
And I would love, and those are totally different kinds of charities and philanthropies. So talk about those two. Talk about Rebuild Globally, and we'll start there, and then we'll talk about Orlando City Foundation.
Sure. So I met Julie Colombino, the CEO and founder of Rebuild Globally, several years ago. I was inspired by her because right after the hurricane in 2010, I think it was, she went to Haiti and was called there to make a difference. She lived there in a tent and figured out that jobs are what the people of Haiti need. So now she started Rebuild Globally, and she's got an arm of that organization that is actually a Haitian-owned and ran business that it's all Haitian-made goods that she sells. And actually,
you've been there. You went.
Oh yeah, we went to. Jim's been to Haiti about 5 times, and I went this past January.
Was that your first time you had gone?
That was my first time.
So talk about that, because I saw your post on Facebook. Very emotional.
Man.
Made a huge difference. It's totally different when you raise funds here in America for something, and then you actually go to the place.
Right. Well, so Rebuild Globally is still based out of Orlando, even though they do work in Haiti. And I believe that you should have a community. You should be involved in your community and think locally, but then also think globally. Like live locally, think globally. I
like
think
that.
is the term.
That's great.
But I'm thinking, I didn't come up with that, but I read it somewhere and I was like, that's awesome. Because you shouldn't ignore what goes on outside your borders.
Correct.
You should focus on your community and then see where else you can help. And so now actually what we've come up with is, I always try to figure out what type of closing gift can I give to people that's not just a gift card or a bottle of champagne. And my operations manager, Lillian, who is a genius, had the idea, why don't we do like a big tote bag that people can have. That way, when they move into their house, they'll have, wine and a, toilet
Very
paper
important.
and coffee, whatever, you can gear it towards whatever the people are interested in. So we talked to Julie Colombino, and she said, I've always wanted to do a screen printing side of my business, and we were like, wait a second, you do the tote bags out of canvas, Haitian canvas, inner tube.
That's
we got
cool.
Hillary Powers to do a beautiful
too.
design that we're now screen printing on the bags, and basically I'm able to give people jobs in Haiti. Julie was able to start that part of her business to give Haitian people jobs, and
because you're utilizing that as your
Right.
closing gift.
just because of that first
that's
order,
amazing.
she's given like 3 jobs, to people in Haiti.
So what was the surprising part when you went over there? Like you think you're prepared, but you're not.
You're not prepared.
So talk a little bit about that, because that's really what I find most people when they come back from anything that's been devastated, or they're doing a mission trip, or they're doing anything charitable,
Yeah.
and they actually go in and get in the nitty gritty of it, they're even surprised.
Yeah. But I think for the abject poverty that you see, there's so much hope and so much pride that the Haitian people have in themselves and, their surroundings. So I think everybody's so happy. Like when you talk to the people that work with and for Rebuild Globally, like they're all happy. They're all getting an education because of Julie's efforts. So all the people that I met it's very positive, and there's a lot of vibrant colors. So while you're seeing so much poverty, you can also see the beauty and the hope that there also is in that country. And I think I can see why Julie was so compelled to help, and why Jim really, feels the same way.
They have a resilient spirit.
Yeah.
They do.
And I think you have to go there to see what I'm talking about. I think sometimes...
The pictures don't do it justice. I don't
No.
care. I have not been there, but I know from friends that have done the same thing. Until you're there to see it, you just can't believe that's actually, you don't put 2 and 2 together on the pictures. The pictures you can screen through or wipe away. Actually being there, that's an image that you can't put away. So.
And I also was at a refugee camp. I don't know if a lot of people don't know that they had a refugee crisis there, where a lot of Haitians that were living in the Dominican Republic were basically kicked out and due to paperwork or something with the government, where they just closed the borders, and a bunch of people were displaced, about 1,000 people. And so Julie has been helping to give jobs to people on that Haitian-Dominican border, and the quality of life has increased, and she was backed by the
That's
UN.
amazing.
It's really amazing. And
That's
to see
amazing.
a refugee camp and to know that you can't leave. You don't have the right paperwork, you can't leave.
Right, so you're stuck there. You're 100% at the mercy of anybody who's helping or anybody who's running the camp.
Yeah, that's exactly right.
That's a scary place
and
to be.
what's interesting too, another organization that is in Orlando that I love is iDignity.
Me too.
Michael Dippy and his organization, they helped us. Our home was broken into earlier this year, and we were able to get back almost all of our documentation. They're still working on some things, but iDignity, another organization.
And why are they important? I know, but tell them why.
If you don't have a driver's license, a social security card, if you don't have proper identification, you can't get a job, you can't go to school, and that's why a lot of people that are homeless have trouble, and that's how they started helping people in the community. It was homeless people, but you can also, if you ever are in that situation, we needed help, and they were able to help us.
Because I would have never, until you posted that,
Yeah.
I know what you went through on the theft, which was awful, robbery, burglary.
Yeah.
The fact that you aren't homeless and you could utilize their service, that brings a whole new perspective to things. And I think I love iDignity. I think what they do, I love the name of it, I love the concept. You're blessed, we're blessed to have the jobs and the life that we have.
Right.
The people on the street, it can mean the difference between a hot meal or a job and no hot meal and no job. And iDignity does an amazing, amazing job.
They do, and now I'm going to tell everybody and be an advocate for them because of all the good that they do. So
talk about So Orlando City.
Oh, I love my Orlando
So
City.
we know Jim's a Brit.
Yes.
So is that how you fell in love with Orlando City
Oh my
initially?
gosh. Well, the grassroots effort to how that came to be, I think, was like magical.
Agreed.
And then when you meet Kay Rollins, you're just like
She's
in
so
love with her.
amazing. She's amazing.
And I think she inspires me so much. I think the key is like surrounding yourself with people that inspire you. So I have Julie, I've got Kay Rollins, I've got, all these amazing people that just inspire me. So so I'm on the board for Orlando City Foundation. Our focus is on helping children in the community, and right now a lot of work in Paramore, where the stadium is.
And so what happens with when you're doing the work in Paramore? What are you doing? What are you engaging the community?
Community gardens, because kids, they'll eat healthier if they're part of growing food, seeing how it grows, and then
Sure.
So healthier foods. Paramore is a food desert, so they don't have access to good, healthy foods. And so that's been a mission of Orlando City to help the kids in Paramore. Mini pitches, so the kids get exercise. So they turn tennis courts, paint them purple, and make them into mini pitches, and then get people involved to coach and teach the kids.
That's so cool.
So it's soccer programs. So they do a lot of good.
A lot of good. And I find Orlando they embraced Orlando City soccer just almost immediately, like the fervor about it, and the fact, like I don't like to go out in the heat that often, so the fact that people will go, just being honest,
right?
The people will go and sit at the game, and there are just fans that love it and will go out there. I think that's a testament to how amazing the organization itself is. And Kay has definitely done,
oh my gosh.
I mean, she's just done amazing things in the city. She reminds me a lot of you, tireless, selfless efforts to get the word out there, help your community, and she does a tremendous job at that.
She's incredible.
She really is. And listen, that's the third one to fly over, in case you're wondering. It's the craziest thing. Can you hear it? It's shaking the building.
Shaking the building.
That's the third one to fly over. So let's talk a little bit about business. Let's get to business. So you're a realtor.
I am a realtor.
So I finally was able to put Beth's bio, and a lot of people have stuff. Let me say this real quick before we get into that. Heidi says hi.
Hi, Heidi.
Jim Hobart says Michael Dippy and iDignity have been absolute champs in helping us.
Absolutely.
Somebody else made a comment earlier. Dejan Den Hartog said, "You look gorgeous and very inspirational."
Thank you.
Jackie Brockington said, "Hi, would love to join you." So I'm going to have Jackie on the show.
Oh, nice.
She's amazing too. So talk about real estate, because and I'm corrected. You didn't recently make a move. You've been in the business. And you built your own business, and we were talking before the show, is that when you see people up, like people will see me or see Beth, or we've been in the business for a long time, but we did struggle to get to where we're at.
My gosh.
And it didn't come automatically, and it didn't come necessarily from connections we had.
No.
There were a lot of mistakes we had to make, struggles we had. And so talk a little bit about that, because in the beginning you were saying it took you a solid 2 years plus to get to the point, and you were frustrated.
Let me tell you something. It's amazing Jim did not divorce me at that point.
He loved
because
you.
I was just miserable all the time, because it was such a struggle, and I didn't really have a good. I joined a smaller company and just didn't have a lot of support, so it was just hard. So I just got a lot of designations and went to a lot of classes and learned as much as I could. And once that was still, I still didn't have enough support, and it wasn't because it was a bad company. They just weren't staffed like a larger real estate firm would be. Then I moved to Sterling Sotheby's in 2007. So I started in 2005, Sterling Sotheby's in 2007, and Linda Hutchinson was a realtor there that mentored me a lot at that point for a few years. But really it wasn't until Keller Williams, and I was there for 7 years at Keller Williams. And Beth Woodhall was the person that brought me over, and then Rick Bosley, Yen Yao. There were so many amazing people that really supported me, believed in my business, and helped me to really just, learn as much as possible and fail a lot. Make a mistake, keep going, but don't get caught up in that failure. You just got to keep moving. And I think if you can keep doing that and not being afraid to fail forward, then...
So I love that, and one of the things we talked about earlier, talk about with them, you I asked you what was a turning point, or what was the thing that you can tell them, oh God, this is what I did. Because a lot of times that's it. We're all looking for a breakthrough.
Yeah.
We're trying 100 different things. We're not really sure what works and what isn't going to work. And some of, if you're going through that and you're not making any money, it's very hard to be in that position and not have the success or have the check coming in. But you talked about one or two things that were breakthroughs for you that you did.
So honestly, the key for me is just doing what I love. So the turning point was, this is so stupid, but
It's great. No, I love it.
I woke up one day and I'm like, I think I'm going to run. I think I'm going to be a runner.
What'd you call yourself earlier? Forrest Gump?
Like Forrest Gump, only I'm not good at running. I'm slow like molasses. And my friend Tracy Brown was like, I'll run around the lake with you and we'll just keep running. She's a soccer player. And eventually I was like, I'm going to do a 5K. So I signed up for a 5K, did it with my friend Barbara Ivins, and was like, okay, if I can do that, I'm going to sign up for a marathon. So I did.
It's amazing.
And then I freaked out because I'm like, oh my God, what did I just do? So I signed up for the marathon, and then I did a half marathon in between, but it was through Marathon Fest, through Track Shack. I met a ton of people just doing what I loved. I was in the trenches with them, and I think in forming those relationships, I ended up building my business just from my running group, doing what I love, and a lot of volunteering. A lot came out of Quest, being on the board for Quest and being involved in the community. So just by doing what you love,
right.
And I love people. I like being around people and networking.
She does. She's good at it.
I don't like to call it networking though, because I'm not just out like, hey, here's my card, take a card. That's not how
Absolutely.
I do it. I want to, if anything, I don't like small talk, so sometimes I go a little deep too quick. Because I'm like,
no, but I like that.
Life.
No, I like
Tell
that
me,
though. I think people respond to that.
Yeah.
I think people, that's one of the reasons why I think people respond to the show so far, is because we're not just talking about business, and you're not here just to go, buy a house from me, list your house with me, let me sell your house.
Right.
We're talking about you and what you've done, and you're allowing yourself to be vulnerable, and I think people respond to that. But I think a great message that you just talked about, it doesn't have to be a traditional mail. You don't have to do mailers to 1,000 neighborhoods.
No.
It can be part of your plan. I'm not saying it shouldn't, but there are ways to grow your business organically and authentically,
right,
where you're just building relationships because that's what you love to do. And I'm a big believer, if you do what you love to do, the business will come. You plant seeds. It could be a year, it could be 6 months, it could be 5 years.
Yep.
But you have to continue to do that. But I would caution you to not do that for that purpose. Do it because you love it and because you want to help people.
Yeah.
D, I have allegedly no wine. This is Beth's cup mug. We wanted to use it. People are so worried about that. I love it.
I know.
It's my first glass. But I think that's so important because I think a lot of people go, okay, I'm going to volunteer. Yeah. And they may like the organization, but 2 months later, they're not getting out of it what they want. Like even WCR, for example, and Beth was our president of Women's Council of Realtors. People join organizations like that and think, okay, I've joined, I paid my dues, where's all my business? Right. It's the same with volunteering.
It takes time.
It takes time and effort, and you have to put blood, sweat, and tears into it. And sometimes, like even with WCR for me, that's not necessarily where I get my business directly, but the relationships are priceless that I've built, and their relationships are wonderful for me.
Absolutely.
And I think that as you continue to build that, it's more organic than I'm going in, I'm giving WCR, I'm giving community involvement 3 months, and that's it. It's over after that. And you can't do that. And that's not what you did. You took your time and got involved.
Yeah, you have to put in, you have to build the relationships, really give back, help people find what your passion is. It's not one size fits all for business. Like,
it's not.
There are some people that do really well cold calling. I'm not going to cold call. I'm not going to door knock. I'm not going to do those things.
That's not your comfort zone, and it's not necessarily that you don't have that you should or should not get out of your comfort zone. But you know what works for you, and that's what some of the people that are 1 or 2 years in, they're struggling with. They don't know yet.
Right. Yeah.
And it's not necessarily that that's a bad thing, and I think that's the message to tell you, is that it's not a bad thing if you're still struggling. Perfect.
Yeah. I think you just have to keep going.
Keep going.
And don't quit so quick. Like, know that it's going to be hard. Put in your time, and and sometimes you are on the wrong path, and you have to recognize that too.
But
a lot of times people just quit too soon and don't see what their full potential could be. just because it gets hard.
And it does get hard, and we're not here to be. Lillian says, embrace the suck.
Embrace the suck. That's
awesome.
what I used to always say when I was training for my marathons. Thanks, Lillian.
Stu says, awesome show coming from Pittsburgh. Go Steelers. That's Sunday at 1:00. I'm told.
Oh,
I would never know that. Me either.
Nothing.
Kat Brower actually told me that. So earlier, it's the only reason I know. But yeah, the struggle it's like, okay, I'm going to give up and I'm going to try something else. And we were talking about that.
Oh my gosh.
I see that a lot with any business. Network marketing, I see it a lot with too.
Mm-hmm.
Like I've met the same person and they're on their 5th network marketing product.
No.
It's the same in business. I'm not picking on network marketing because I believe in it and I believe you can be successful.
Mm-hmm.
Don't give up so quickly.
Right.
Don't
Yeah.
just go ahead.
Yeah, and if something's not working, then, like if you're failing in one thing, make an adjustment and try something else. You were starting to say that I moved brokerages.
Yeah, so you moved from, so this was it was a big deal. So when I heard the news, because the one thing that you can say about Keller is their training is
absolutely
amazing. And when somebody comes to me usually and they're a new agent and they have no idea what they're doing, I'm like, you should definitely consider Keller because they have an amazing training program, start to finish. But you made a big move about a year ago. So talk about that, and a shout out to Sean Frank and John Russell. Hi guys. Kat Brower says hi, beautiful lady. Kat, we just mentioned you about the Steelers.
You did.
So talk about that move, because that's a big thing, because we were talking earlier, Orlando's a small town.
It is.
So you had to decide, okay, this is it. I'm making this move. Mm-hmm. And that's a big thing, because I can tell by your notes, you want to outline everything. She's got this 4 pages of notes. She was worried. I'm like, you don't have to be worried. But I get it. You're methodical, and you want to make sure you made the right decision for your business, for your life. So talk a little bit about that, because that was big.
I've known Sean for a long time, and and we became very good friends. And I think it was time for me to make a change. And really, I've lived downtown for 20 years. I'm a downtowner.
You are.
This is where I need to be.
Yep.
My office at Keller was in Waterford Lakes, and while, not far away, but very different. And this is really my focus. So it was the location, it was the back end system that they have at Mainframe. It just makes my team run more efficient. And Lillian and Emily, hello, they're my operations manager and my operations support, and they help me to do everything.
That's awesome.
They help keep everything running, and but no, it was just the right timing. They're a great company. We have a great culture where everybody helps each other. They're seasoned agents, so we really don't have new agents. It's on purpose to have more seasoned agents, and I've been doing this for 12 years, so it's nice to have colleagues that have been in the industry for a long time to bounce ideas off of. And
they're very, Sean is very, and John, they're forward thinking in their approach, and I did see their back office, and this is just that they should get the accolades. It's not for everyone, and they don't want everyone, as no brokerage wants everyone. It has to be the right fit no matter what. It's not just real estate, it's any business. But I think that it makes more sense. It's a better fit for you and what you're built your business around.
And and I realized that it's not the company that people remember, it's you. So
Absolutely.
If you're a realtor right now and you're struggling with, do I stay at this company or do I leave? You are your brand. You're what makes people want to work with you. So don't be afraid to make a move. If it's not right, readjust and move forward. And if you need help, I know there's some realtors that are at the point in their business now where they think, oh, I need to hire somebody, but I'm afraid. Let me tell you, it'll change your business if you have the right support.
I agree.
And I failed a bunch of times. I mean, I've had 4 assistants, I think, before I found the right fit. But I made those mistakes. I recorrected, and now I've got the best team that I could have ever.
See, she's giving a shout out to her team.
Yeah,
all right,
my
so
team is the best.
Jim is close by, which means we're at 1:30. See how fast it went?
I know.
Like, it just
really
goes
fast.
by
so
quickly, and there was no reason to be. You're a natural.
I realize I talk with my hands a lot.
So do I. Well, we're Italian. This is what we do.
What we do.
I know. I'm surprised I didn't hit you with my hands, but I've learned to keep them down here. You were a joy as always.
You're lovely.
Thank you so much.
I love you so much.
I love you, and I appreciate you. And I appreciate everybody who tuned in to support us.
Thank you.
We love
so
you guys. Hope you get power this weekend, people that don't have it.
And I hope I was able to help somebody.
You were awesome.
Out there.
And then we'll tag stuff later. You can reach out to Beth. I'll put her websites and everything on the posts. Thank you guys for tuning in. Happy Friday. Have a great weekend. We love you.
Bye.
Bye-bye. Bye-bye.